Well, I'm glad you asked that
It's
question.
no longer get acquainted, it has a larger dimension, doesn't it? You're going with concrete proposals? Or
Well,
is that
I think, Helen, when I defined what I intended, I said that we'd no set agenda, prepared to talk about a wide array of issues, and that's still exactly the way it's going to be. And there is all kind of hyped speculation on the part of some that it's going to be different. And I'm glad to get that question because we're together, our team, solidly together, prepared to talk about anything President Gorbachev wants to talk about and his able team. But it is not going to be an agreement that surprises our allies. We're part of an alliance,
Well,
and that alliance is very strong. And it's going to be strong after this meeting because I'm not going to surprise them. So the surprise will be, if you're looking for a surprise, there won't be a surprise. That may come as a surprise.
No, the question is, you have the caveats that you will inform NATO, but aren't you going with anything in your hand, anything concrete? I mean, are you going to just sit there and listen?
No, we'll have a wide array of areas where we think we can improve relations. I'm very concerned about events in Central America, and I will be urging Mr. Gorbachev to do what they should have done some time ago, cease support for those who are fueling revolution, exporting it in this hemisphere. I had a call today, incidentally, from President Arias of Costa Rica. And I don't think I'm blindsiding Mr. Gorbachev by this, but I will raise with him, at Arias's request, the fact that the Soviet Union should stop feeding Fidel Castro, who Mr. Arias tells me is directly responsible for the exporter revolution through supporting the FMLN. And that was a direct request for from the Nobel Peace Prize winner. So of course we're going to raise other subjects ourselves, go there with ideas. In my mind, following up on what the Secretary did in a very constructive way in his meeting with Mr. Shevardnadze. So the thing I wanted to shoot down, though, is this kind of frantic speculation that there are going to be some based on crazy. Well, no, yeah, it's natural, but I want to gun it down.
Now that there's such a change.
Well, we don't want to get out ahead of our allies, and Secretary Cheney is taking a look at defense requirements, and but that's a good subject because I am not going to enter into an arms control agreement. Now, if we want to talk in a general way with the Soviet leaders about our aspirations for how a defense system will look 10 years from now, of course we'll do that. Of course we want to do it. We want to see far less than 15, 17% of the gross national product of the Soviet Union spent on defense. And obviously we'll talk about that, Helen. It's very important we talk about it. But that's not what I'm referring to when I talk about euphoric expectation of some deal. There isn't going to be such a deal. It takes two to make a deal.
Sir, is one of the ideas you're carrying with you there that you just talked about, the idea of having lowered much deeper cuts in conventional forces than you talked about when you were in Brussels?
As I say, it takes two. We need to get in there and discuss his plans with him and not tie the alliance up by unilateral commitments.
But not you're willing to talk about deeper cuts.
I'm willing to talk about anything. That's what the meeting is about. That's why I've viewed it as a meeting where we can discuss anything without a fixed agenda.
Mr. President, the events in Eastern Europe seem to be unfolding largely on their own. As President, do you think that you should have a major role in shaping the developments, or do you think that Europe should take the lead?
I think that that the lead is being taken by the peoples in these countries. And I have talked, incidentally, to every single member of NATO. And I don't want to sound self-centered here, but almost every one of those leaders told me, we think the United States is handling this properly. We appreciate the way you're handling these changes, the prudent approach you are taking, and it came over and over again. I got on that phone right there to every single prime minister or president in NATO. And so I feel that they are behind us in our approach. And I think what's happening in Czechoslovakia, what has happened and will continue to happen in Poland, what's going on in the GDR and Hungary, comes from the people. It doesn't come from somebody halfway across the world dictating how fast change should be or what change should encompass. We've spelled out in speech after speech a broad perspective of how we would like to see the world evolve. Talked about it months ago with very little attention, but our allies understood it. They understood it very well when we talk about a Europe whole and free, or when I said in an interview to David Frost, yes, that Berlin will come down my presidency. But that, I think we're handling it about right. And I say that based on the input from our allies. And we are part of an alliance, and that alliance is going to stand. And it is very important that they know that I'm not going to go off and prematurely jump out there and try to grandstand by committing them to something. That's not the way you keep an alliance strong, and nor is that the way you affect permanent change either.
Mr. President, you said there won't be a deal in Malta. There have been reports, though, that you would propose to President Gorbachev going below the 275,000 troop ceiling for
I've
the
seen
U.S. and
reports
Soviet
like
Union.
that.
Are they true?
No. I've told you that we don't go there with specific proposals. If we want to discuss something of this nature, we'll discuss it. But that's what I want to shoot down. There are no arms control proposals. In writing, I have made clear to Mr. Gorbachev, in my own handwriting, so he knows it comes from me, not from the bureaucracy, that this is not a summit for arms control agreement. We've got a meeting set, a summit set, in which we will, after consultation with our allies, move forward. So I don't think there's any misunderstanding on that. I read some copy here about what one of these Soviet spokesmen said, and it sounded to me like we're pretty much on the same wavelength. The lead was a little off the wavelength. I don't want to tell you whose this was, but the lead was different than what the spokesman said.
You can't believe Gorbachev would go to a summit just to get acquainted.
The spokesman said, they do
One
not
spokesman.
expect formal agreements to merge from shipboard agreements. The same one when you say when he doesn't want to,
Right.
let's say Gorbachev is not the sort of man for a simple get acquainted session.
Yes.
Ready for serious talks. I'm
Yeah.
ready for serious talks. But there's no agenda. I don't think we're apart. You, Jim, you're dealing with him.